Waiting just to light the dark. Time compresses into one. Ready now, the charge is done. Every second drawn so tight. Then it breaks and floods with light. No delay, no holding back. You're the burst on final track. Friction feeds the perfect blast. Everything moves way too fast. Quantum flash, you split the day. Turn the static into play. You don't build, you just explode. Pulse and fire in overload. Rip the space and bend the laws. You define the causeless cause. Moments vanish in your crash. All is born in quantum flash. Motion doesn't need a cue. You exist to break right through. Every echo chokes the time. You accelerate the climb. No resistance, just pure gain. Through the matter, through the strain. You're the reason chaos sings. Shaped in pure unfolding wings. Limits flicker into glass. When you blaze and when you pass. Quantum flash, no lead up line. Only now you cross the spine. Twist the code and fuse the frame. None can hold or call your name. You erupt with no restraint. Carving shock with light so faint. Stillness never had your dash. You ignite in quantum flash. One breath held and then released. That's the moment power ceased. Everything in zero time becomes yours, becomes the climb. You don't count or plan the move. You just leap and let it prove. Through the silence, through the clash. You're the pulse that breaks the ash. Light and force in perfect mash. You exist as quantum flash. Nothing before, just now. Every beat aligns in rows, firing where the rhythm flows. Signals spread like silent sparks, mapping lines through beating arcs. You don't pause, you just combine all the pulses in a line. Senses stretch from skin to wire, tuned into the rising fire. Every tremor has a place, moving through electric space. Lights don't wait, they fire in turn. Every flash another burn. You react but not alone. Threads of rhythm form your zone. Voices sync without a sound. Pattern power shakes the ground. All you feel begins to stay, riding through the pulse array. Friction builds and starts to spread. Waves of force beneath your tread. Every limb and thought respond like you're wired to something fond. You're not chasing, you're aligned. Part of something sharp and timed. No one sees what you obey. You exist within the play. Every jolt becomes your line. Clocked into a shared design. Burning rhythm, cutting frames. Glowing wild through unnamed names. No escape from sink and sway. Every breath becomes the way. No delay, no space between. Only flow that's tight and clean. Locked inside the stream ballet. You belong in the Nothing soft in how you climb. Every moment cuts through time. You don't flinch, you brace the wave. Power builds for what you crave. Gravitational and tight, drawn to break the silent height. Echo rolls through bones and steel. What you give, it makes you real. Fall's not failure, it's the cost. When control is never lost. Peak is loud, then comes the snap. Every second snaps you back. You don't drop, you twist the flow. Energy you didn't show. Muscles tense and heart replies. Power loops then amplifies. When it bends, it doesn't spoil. That's the rule of
Not yet revealed.
what goes up defines the fight. But the recoil sets it right. Now the line begins to curl, spinning fast into the swirl. You don't crash, you ride the coil. This is how you. Not a loss, it's just the bend where the cycle starts again. Every drop becomes your foil. You ignite light with. You rise to fall with power. Tiny sparks beneath the steel flicker fast but feel so real. One by one they start to build. Every flash by rhythm filled, casting hums with quiet pride. Pressure climbing deep inside. No explosion, just a burn. You can feel the cycle turn. Light ignites what silence hides. Now the power multiplies. From the glints, emotion grows. Every click and crank now flows. You don't rush, you let it rise. Power born in crystal ties. Tuned to every flashing cue. What begins now follows through. In the stillness starts the spin, driven by the fire within. Wires twitch with heat unseen. All the force behind the sheen. You don't shout, you resonate. Let the system calibrate. Nothing wasted, nothing loud. Just the rhythm standing proud. Shine beneath the heavy core. Every glow prepares for more. Measured pulses in a string, building like a living thing. Feel the drive beneath the frame. Heat and motion spark the flame. You don't force, you just align. Turn each flicker into time. Echoes crawl and fuse in place. Then they roar without a trace. From precision comes the sin of the light you hold within. Smallest shimmer makes the turn. When you let the engine burn. Oh, now the glow begins to rise, lighting up the steel disguise. You don't fake the shine you've grown. Every bit of it your own. Let them wonder how it runs. You're the link that no one shuns. Every burst you feel inspired. Fires your core with. Steel and spark combine. to shout. Throttle sharp and locked in tight. Vision stretches into light. Gravity just shifts away. Now you're on the phase to stay. Not a curve, just endless aim. Every pulse becomes the flame. Straight through clouds and out the frame. You're too fast to name or tame. No descent, just push and blaze. Locked into your jetline phase. Noise behind, but silence near. Only speed is what you hear. You don't float, you pierce the haze. Rising in your jetline phase. Runway long since left behind. Now you're chasing more than time. Pressure bends the world around, but your heart won't make a sound. Air can't hold you, earth won't drag. Every pull becomes a flag. Nothing pulling from below. You exist in pure flow. Not a lift, it's raw ascent. Line that never needs a bend. Wings are thoughts you don't control. They respond to every goal. You don't drift, you rip through blaze. You ignite the jetline phase. Space becomes a single thread. You're the mark that won't be read. Everything dissolves in rays when you're deep in jetline Let them watch the air distort. You were built to cut it short. Now you're higher than the track. There's no plan for turning back. Sky is drawn beneath your run. You're the streak that eats the sun. Every rule you now erase. In this perfect ruthless chase, you don't land, you just amaze. Bound to fly You don't fall, you extend. Faint at first, the signal calls, bouncing off the inner walls. What was quiet starts to swell. Patterns only you can tell. Shadows vibrate, sound ignites, growing louder in the lights. You don't speak, you let it climb. Every echo curves through time. What you gave now comes in waves, breaking out of hidden caves. No control, it starts to rise, shaking ground and cracking skies. What began in silent surge now explodes in echo surge. From the depth to open fire, all your sparks begin to wire. You don't stop, watch you emerge, rolling in the echo surge. Lines reflect and double back. Power multiplies in track. One idea becomes a stream, feeding into full extreme. You don't chase the source or end. You become the force you send. Nothing still, it's all in flow. Even calm begins to glow. Every tone you left behind becomes your path. When you strike the flash pivot, plans dissolve before they start. You rely on inner chart, reflex sharp and vision clean. You react before it's seen. Angle flips and tires scream, but you're locked into the stream. You're not lost, you just transmute everything in one reboot. Fast as thought, the moment flips. Every choice in tight grips. Let them wait for signs and cues. You don't need a map to choose. Each decision is a blade. In the spark, you just cascade. From the calm into the fire. What they question, you require. Snap the frame and tear the rift. When you own the flash pivot. Turning isn't losing track. It's the force that launches back. At the height, you twist the fate, drop the weight, and shift the state. You're not caught, you just commit. Driven by the flash pivot. Every shift becomes your lane, breaking out the sharp terrain. You don't stall or counterfeit. You were made for flash pivot. Current bends without a trace, running wild in open space. You don't hold or fight the line. Every surge becomes the sign. Nothing fixed and nothing clear, just the pulse you choose to steer. Wires hum, the tension spreads. You react as power threads. No direction, just release. Let the flow disturb the peace. Charge without a measured goal. All the sparks begin to roll. Twist and flicker, sharp and swift. You align with every shift. Balance lost becomes your game. You don't seek to stake a claim. Feel the pull that can't resist. Riding high on reckless mist. You don't crash, you just descend into currents that won't end. Every jolt's a different tone. You're the live wire, not alone. Static clings to every turn. In your veins, the circuits burn. Nothing planned, but nothing slow. Every move begins to glow. When it loops and then expands, you let go and drop your hands. Pulse that breaks into the core, never touches ground or floor. Speed that dances without grip. but current. Start with fire in the thread, not a thought, just what's ahead. Every motion builds a tear, stacking pressure without fear. Speed is not a single line, it's the way you cross design. Layered deep in timed release, pulse on pulse, you never cease. Stack the turns and hold your breath, climbing speed is close to death. Drifting past the colored blur, sense collapses into slur. Still you know the grip is true, nothing breaks the flow through you. Sound dissolves, the beats entwine, moments multiply in line. You don't step, you leap through frames, every burst expands your claims. Tension wraps around your flight, layered clean and blazing light. Open air. just respond, spinning into what's beyond. Every motion brings it near. Old vibrations reappear. Twisting through the wind and light, sudden memories ignite. You don't chase them, they arrive, rushing back and feeling alive. Nothing held but nothing gone. Every trace you rode upon wakes again without a wall, catching you in sudden thrall. Speed reveals what hides in pace, fragments woven into grace. You don't know the time they came, but they burn and feel the same. Round and round the pulse returns, even silence sometimes learns. In the vortex, thought expands, reaching out with glowing hands. Not forgotten, just delayed. Now the shape begins to fade. You're not still, but you recall every beat and every fall. Not to stop, but to combine past and now in single line. From the force you used to flee comes a thread that sets you free. Not a weight, just a signal call, rising through the inner sprawl. When you turn the past aligns in the gaps between the signs. Now the blur becomes the map. You release and then unwrap. What was buried deep and small flows alive through every sprawl. You don't need to trace it back. You embody every track. What you feel is not a stall. You are writing your recall. Then you ring your own Every cut reveals design. Now the air becomes your scroll, woven from the way you roll. Nothing static in your kit. You were born to make the split. Every force you ever brave now becomes the path you paved. No one else could write this script. Only you could form this split. The wind accepts your shape. Buzz beneath the silent glass, crackling as the seconds pass. You don't move, you recalibrate, waiting for the pull of fate. Tension climbing through the wire, every pulse ignites the fire. Off balance but razor thin, you control the storm within. Every shift can spark a wave. Only lean if you are brave. Tip the edge but never fall. Ride the crackle through it all. You don't pause when pressure climbs. You react in tilted times. Every twitch a thread to guide. Voltage rising from inside. Hold your stance and don't react. Ride the tension, stay intact. Lines are buzzing in your chest. Nothing steady, no more rest. Each small motion shakes the frame. Still you're steady in the flame. Signals bounce from limb to mind. Every twitch precisely timed. You don't flinch, you navigate. Even chaos can't dictate. Balance in but that signal's here to stay. You don't seek or ask for more, you already found the core. Nothing loud but always close, driving what you need the most. Even when the roots collapse, you don't need to check the maps. That one rhythm keeps your stride, you move with what's locked inside. The beat you live when you never lose. Streaks of color, lines collide, but your vision cuts the ride. Every blur becomes a frame, every angle speaks your name. You don't blink, you hold the shot, even when the world is hot. Focus sharp and locked in tight, seeing through accelerating light. Speed may bend the edge in sky, but your eyes still clarify. Not a moment gets away, you see all in full array. Every second stretches wide, nothing slips beneath your stride. Even in the hardest curve, you detect the shift and swerve. You don't guess or chase the sense, you react with perfect lens. Others squint through rising haze, but you cut through all the blaze. Every flash reveals the scheme, hidden deep inside the stream. You don't search, you just receive truths that others won't believe. In the chaos you detect what to follow and deflect. Vision isn't tied to pace, you just frame and lock the space. Lines converge but don't mislead, you perceive the pulse and speed. What they miss you magnify, clarity in how you fly. You don't float or blindly steer, you define what will appear. Every shift you can condense, nothing moves outside your sense. Even fast can still be clear when you frame what others fear. Now the flash becomes the sign, you align through every line. From the motion you extract, what they lose you take intact. Not with pause but sharpened view, built for what is cutting through. Every edge becomes intense, seen through your perfect lens. The picture never fades. Waited long with steady hands, caught between the shifting sands, but the stillness Now the sound becomes your name. Everything reflects your flame. You don't ride, you push the track. Every hit is bouncing back. All they feel is what you send. Starting where your pulses bend. No more waiting, no more pact. You were made to just react. And the rhythm moves for you. Caught between the pull and spin, drawn to places you've not been. Not a line you see or hold, but it loops in perfect fold. You don't stray, you realign as the arc becomes your sign. Everything you think you lost comes around, no matter cost. You don't break, you bend with speed, following what you don't need. Round and round the path appears, through the echoes, through the years. You don't chase, you just connect. Every curve you intersect, gravity becomes your guide, spinning true from deep inside. Even when it fades ahead, you're still tied by unseen thread. Others try to draw it straight, but you turn and navigate. Every shift becomes your flow, even detours help you grow. You don't stop, you synchronize, winding through the open skies. Every motion still aligned with the force you've left behind. You don't ask for signs to read, you just trust the moving beat. Loop by loop, you mark the air. Every motion leads you there. You don't fight what pulls you near. You become the turning sphere. Never lost and never stole. You respond to every call. Let them think it's all misread. You move true with silent thread. Even chaos can't misguide. You revolve with force inside. Now the orbit finds its range. Through the wild, through every change. You don't flee, you just extend. Writing what will never end. All the world may seem unsaid, but you trace the path instead. Not by plan or words you've said. You revolve on silent thread. Motion weaves the way. a gleam. No big echo, no parade, just a spark the world mislaid. You don't hesitate or stall, you just trigger through it all. Others wait to see the plan, you ignite before they scan. Like a fuse that hides in calm, then explodes into a song. Even silence starts to shake once you know it's yours to break. Feel the jolt and take the ride, no more questions left inside. You don't fade, you amplify every beat that multiplies. One split second is enough for your world to shift the rough. Let them freeze in doubtful dream, you react to just a gleam. What begins with just a glow turns to force that makes you go. Now the light is not just seen, it defines where you have been. You don't wait to chase the theme, you become the sudden beam. Every move that you redeem tears through noise and breaks the seam. You don't follow, don't redeem, you ignite from one small gleam. Everything starts now. From the break, the sound ignites, tearing holes. In silent nights, you don't knock, you tear right through, making space for something new. Every tone, a sharpened blade, nothing soft. No slow cascade, edges shatter as you scream. Built to slice, not just to dream. No more quiet, no more wait. You cut clean and detonate. Rip the sky with sharpened sound. Burn the limits to the ground. You don't ease, you amplify. Every burst electrifies. No return and no delay. You erase the slow decay. Crank it loud and raise the zone. Every sound becomes your own. Others whisper, hope to fade you to tune. What they've replayed, nothing vintage, nothing tame. You're the noise that won't behave. Feedback roars in full command. Chaos sculpted by your hand. Not a melody for peace, but a riot with release. Volume isn't just a game, it's your pulse, your fuel, your flame.